Here's my take. The controversy over the desecration of copies of the Quran in Afghanistan and the murders of Americans that followed is at one level one moment in a long, complicated war. But it also highlights the difficult and ultimately unsustainable aspect of America's Afghan policy. President Obama wants to draw down U.S. troops, but his strategy remains to transition power and authority to an Afghan National Army and police force, as well as to the government in Kabul, which would run the country and its economy. This is a fantasy. We must recognize that and pursue a more realistic alternative. The United States tends to enter wars in developing countries with a simple idea: modernize the country and you will solve the national security problem. An articulation of that approach came from none other than Newt Gingrich during a 2010 speech.
The fact that we have been in this country for 7 years, almost 8 years, and we have not flooded the country with highways. We haven't guaranteed that every Afghan has a cell phone. We haven't undertaken the logical steps towards fundamentally modernizing their society.
Now, assuming that every Afghan got a cell phone and could travel on great highways, here is what would not change. The Afghan national government does not have the support of a large segment of its population, the Pashtuns. The National Army is regarded as an army of Tajiks, Uzbeks, and Hazaras, the old Northern alliance that battled the Pashtuns throughout the 1990s. And simply put, Afghanistan's economy cannot support a large national government with a huge army. The budget for Afghan security forces today is around $12 billion, paid for by the U.S., of course. That is 8 times the amount of the Afghan government's total annual revenues. As America has discovered in countless places over the past 5 decades, there are problems with this nation-building approach. First, it is extremely difficult to modernize a country in a few years. Second, even if this were possible, the fundamental characteristics of that society, its ethnicity, religion, national and geopolitical orientation, persist despite modernization. Accepting reality rather than wishing for some fantasy change in Afghanistan would not leave America without options there. We could have a smaller troop presence, but we could still pursue robust counterterrorism operations. The alternative is that we maintain our current approach, which is to bet on the success of not one, but 2 very large nation-building projects. We have to create an effective national government in Kabul that is loved and respected by all Afghans, whatever their ethnicity. We have to expand the Afghan economy so that a large national army and police force are sustainable for the long run. But to succeed, we also have to alter Pakistan's basic character, create a civilian-dominated state that could shift the strategic orientation of the Islamabad government so that it shuts down the Taliban sanctuaries in Pakistan and starts fighting the very militant groups that it created and supported for the last 3 decades. Does anyone really think this is going to happen?